All right, hello everybody, and welcome back to USC 2023. We have got New York versus Alabama. I'm iFlame, joined today by the one and only Miles. How you doing today, bud?
Hey, Flame, I'm doing great. Ready to commentate some USC, more round of 32. We've got our last two round of 32 matches in this little block we have here at 21 UTC and 23 UTC. So, yep, we're going to be starting with New York versus Alabama. I believe this is seed 12 versus 21. Is that the math?
I want to say it is correct. I can just double check that. Yes, 11 versus 22 here. And this is interesting. Alabama is actually coming in with the exact same roster as last year, but they are 4 seeds higher, so we'll see if they can put up a better performance this time around. They unfortunately did drop out in the first round of losers bracket last year. I think we are going to get a warm-up from New York.
Speaking of this New York team, they've got a few significant updates to their roster, and that is going to be the importing of basically half of the USA 4WC team. This year they have Twilight, Rhythm Game, and Arco. Rhythm Game and Arco being implants from other states. But I think they're going to prove very useful for this team, New York. Although their seed has dropped quite a bit, they are actually like a criminally underseeded roster, being only 11th. Like, this team is seriously strong.
Yeah, will be interesting too, because their last roster was arguably a bit underseeded as well, with players like, Flasho, Hyundai, and Opixe. I believe Opixe is back this year. But nobody else aside from Taquito, of course, returning from that roster.
Yeah, they've got some really strong newcomers, as I just mentioned. 3 of them being from the 4WC team that just won the tournament last week. So they definitely have the skill cap to go very far in this tournament. And then the other addition being Ultrax, who's kind of been on the up and up for a few years now. Pretty strong at Hard Rock, which is something that New York has kind of lacked in years past. So having a dedicated Hard Rock player like him should prove to be valuable, especially when you have Rhythm Game and Arco as well. That Hard Rock roster is just going to go so crazy when late stages come. But for now, round of 32, they're going to have to prove that they're consistent enough to be up to the task against this Alabama roster.
Yeah, that'll be key for them. I think in past USCs, Taquito has occasionally been forced to take the Hard Rock on things like the free mods occasionally when nobody else is comfortable on it. So allowing Taquito to stick to the comfort hidden on most of the picks is going to be a big help to this roster.
Meanwhile, for this Alabama roster, going to look pretty similar to last year. I think it's definitely an uphill battle for them against this New York team. Obviously, New York being the favorable seed, and on paper, probably the favorable team. It's going to be Alabama, I think, looking to prove people wrong, which is something that often happens on early stage pools. I think a lot of us watched Washington up against Oklahoma last night, where Oklahoma surprisingly got 3 points on the board. And I think that surprised a lot of people, so Alabama, let's see if they can live up to that.
Yeah, certainly not an outcome I was expecting. Oklahoma just put up some really solid performances. I think off the back of, what was it? Oh no, I'm blanking on their name. Off Made of Fire, especially, who put up some absolutely insane scores.
Made of Fire, and I think it was Bazinga's Dead playing really well in that match. I'm pretty sure those two played every map for Oklahoma, and they just had trouble finding their third. And honestly, looking at some of those scores, like, it would have been a winnable match for Oklahoma if they had just a little bit more steady thirds. But unfortunately for them, they ended up dropping to Washington, which is another team I think worth mentioning this year because they lost arguably their best player from their top 3 run last year, which was Monko.
Yeah, Monko is a very, very strong tournament player. Not a player that is easy to take the loss of, and so Washington, I don't think it's going to be surprising if they do have a little bit of a harder time this year, but with the players that they have, I think they're still going to be a team to be feared, but maybe going to be difficult to expect that same top 3 performance that we saw last year.
Yeah, definitely going to be tough on them. They're going to be contending against teams like this New York team on the left, who are honestly probably going to be gunning for a top 3 spot this year when you have such amounts of tournament experience and such high skill cap. I think everyone on this New York roster is really going to be capable of performing in the late stage. It's not just going to be that Taquito go carry show that we kind of saw last year.
No, hopefully we're going to see a little bit more balance out of them, but that is going to be it for the New York warm-up here. I don't think that we have an Alabama warm-up, but I guess we'll find out shortly.
Roll Tide. It is a Alabama warm-up, tried and true.
Ah, yes. I should have known.
I would make an input on this being like a college football watcher, but I really don't have any opinion on these SEC schools. Being a Big Ten fan, like I don't have an opinion. I could say something to offend people from Alabama, but I think I'll just let them play their tune here.
Yeah, you know, we can offend all the teams in the next round, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the time will come for everyone. Nobody is immune.
No, not at all.
I mean, I could say something about like Auburn, but Auburn is also in Alabama, so the University of Alabama-Auburn rivalry actually put on hold for OSU because they have to gang up in order to take out larger states like New York.
Yeah, we'll see if they have any success with that. Remains to be seen. They might need a third or fourth university in there to help them out.
Yeah, I know New York being helped out a lot by the Rochester Institute of Technology, where Rhythm Game and Arco are both going. So that is how those players end up on Team New York. Oh my god, this background.
Okay, the background is so great.
Great background.
See if the client can handle the Alabama warm-up.
Oh my god, the A.
It is beautiful. Is that an elephant?
I have no idea. I don't know what that is either.
I couldn't tell you.
There's the A again.
Okay, some more A's.
This is a great warm-up, actually.
It truly is. Might be one of the few warm-ups that can rival the Washington Gamer warm-up.
The other one being Ben Vaviliams.
Of course. And they didn't even use that warm-up, by the way. So Alabama might have the best warm-up so far in USC.
We're going to have to see about that. New Jersey's going to be cooking something up for next week, so...
Oh, I'm sure they will.
So hold your horses on that one, but that's going to do it for the warm-ups. About to get on into the ban phase. Looks like New York winning the role and going to choose to pick first.
Yep. Makes sense. Alabama's going to have the choice of ban order. Likely going to opt to ban second, is the one we commonly see.
Going to choose
nice.
second.
Yeah, as expected. Always nice to see what your opponent bans out first. Hard Rock 1 ban, Acid Burst.
Not Acid Burst, it's the Tekken 7 song, but...
Oh, you're right. That's HD1.
Okay, apparently Arco just FC'd that warm-up. What?
That's wild, okay.
That's crazy. Yeah, this HR1, I feel like people underestimate the difficulty of low BPM HR aim because it's kind of like the opposite of AR8 hidden in that instead of being extremely high density, the map is extremely low density. You're only getting a few circles on the screen at once. And that's something that I feel like it's more forgiving for non-HR players, but less forgiving for people who play the mod actively. So, yeah, a lot of people miss.
CS 5.98 as well actually makes it pretty tricky in terms of circle size.
Two kind of precision maps in the Hard Rock. And maybe Taquito just going back to past habits here, because I know this New York roster does have HR players. Maybe just choosing their least favorite map of the bunch, you know.
Very possibly. Could see a HD ban from Alabama maybe, or potentially one of the free mods instead. Maybe the Nomad 2.
That is one of the alt maps in the pool.
one of the many.
One of the few, actually. I feel like
there's a lot more tech maps than alt maps in this pool.
And here's one of them, Lunatic Rough Party. This map, kind of a little bit of a hybrid tech, alt, flow aim pick. You know, whatever you throw there, as in the absence of traditional slot pooling, end up getting things like this. It's going to be a very strong pick for New York, I think. Taquito, Rhythm Game, both sitting in the lobby. Expect both of those players to do very well on this map. Looks like Alabama already set with their 3.
Looks so. Frostcage, Juicy, and Sora. Just waiting on the 3rd from New York. Seems like they have options for that last player.
It's going to be Twilight to take that 3rd spot. But Rhythm Game's rolling. Maybe they're deciding on someone else wants to enter the lobby. I know that most players on New York should be able to play this. Maybe Opixe go in for Rhythm Game.
Yeah, very possibly. I'm more likely to just see them stick with this core 3, though.
And here comes Pixe. Sora gonna be leaving the lobby for Alabama. See who takes that spot. Juicy saying that Glyph is in the bathroom, who's probably the Alabamian player who's going to be playing this map. I guess we're going to be waiting a second.
We know what we're waiting on.
Yep.
I mean, understandable. I used to drink like 2 bottles of water every single match I played, and it was a bit of a problem.
Honestly, it's a buff.
It really is.
And here comes Glyph Neon Osu to enter the lobby as the 3rd player for Alabama. Looks like we're about to get into New York's first pick here.
Yep. First pick, one you'd expect them to look strong on, so we'll see what kind of a score they could put up. Of course, really going to be looking towards Taquito to put up the big score in the lobby, but I think Twilight and Opixe should be able to put up some very good supporting combos here. Nice and a slow start to the map to ease players into it, but it gets challenging pretty quickly.
And we're already seeing 2 breaks out of Alabama, Glyph Neon Osu and Frostcage dropping. There are no signs of discomfort from either of the 3 New York players, but it's Opixe actually to find a slider break there.
There goes Frostcage again, and accuracy is starting to become a problem for Alabama here. Frostcage down at 92. Twilight does find a miss. That's going to even things out a little bit with 1 FC to 1, but Glyph Neon Osu and Frostcage continue to chain miss with Opixe recovering nicely. So it's going to be a solid advantage for New York.
Juicy holding all the hopes of Alabama here on his back, but with these combos from the backing members of New York, it's going to be really tough for Alabama to come back in, especially as Taquito is still holding onto that FC. With 99%, this is just his bread and butter type of map.
Certainly is, and another miss from Glyph. The slow section not going to be helping Alabama's case here.
And into this little speed up section, any player's sight reading could get cut out here. Hoping these players played this map at least once. The stream, nobody gets caught out by that top right. Now into the last PI, Frostcage to find the next break. Juicy still holding on to the FC for Alabama, but New York just performing a lot better as a team here. Twilight and Opixe recovering nicely from their early breaks. Taquito still doing his thing, 99.5 almost. Let's see if he can lock out that extremely good FC through the stream, and there he goes, 99.5. Oh, Juicy misreading at the end, but Taquito, one of the top accuracy no-mod plays on the map, going to be set here in this match.
Yeah, really nice near full combo from Juicy as well, but unfortunately Frostcage and Glyph were just not able to build up any good supporting combos, and so New York is going to take a pretty decisive win on their first pick.
And this is really the trend that we see of these higher tier states versus the lower tier states, so to speak. So Alabama being just around 10 little higher seeds lower than New York. They've got one good performance on this map, and that's something that I feel like we can come to expect of them throughout the match. And their chance of taking a point will be on the maps where their other players are able to really surround that top score with the backing support that he needs, which we saw exactly from New York here.
Yeah, exactly. With a lot of the smaller states that have a lot less players to choose from, it becomes so much harder to put a solid three-man roster together for any given map. Whereas a state like New York will generally, at the very least, be able to put three decent players in for every single map, especially on one of these earlier stages.
But the pick does go back to Alabama now, so we're going to see what they decide to go with here. We've seen that the most comfortable map in the pool has been maps like Nomad 1 and DT1, which is going to be their first pick. Weezer!
Always Weezer.
Always Weezer. Yeah, this map is really not a DT player's DT1, I'll say. BPM, very low, aim, fairly comfortable, only a couple spots where we've really seen people break with some misreads and maybe some difficult patterns at the very end, but if Alabama's going to get on the board, might as well be on a map like this one.
Might as well. I mean, really, any map that you can get on the board with, Alabama will be quite happy with. Supposedly, this map with DT is actually just pretty normal speed.
Yeah, to quote Dada, this is something where if you asked Peppy what double time was, he would say that it's a map at 1.5 times speed and then show you this clip. Where if you were to ask a player what DT was, they would show you something over 250 BPM. That's basically what this map is.
Wise words of Dada.
Going to be similar roster for Alabama, going to be bringing Sora back in. Meanwhile, for New York, it's Rhythm Game, Arco, and Taquito. So this is probably going to be the New York DT roster throughout the tournament, I believe, with their other players, Twilight, Altrax, and Opixe, none of which really DT players. So
Nope, it's going to be a solid DT roster, though. It's going to be one of the longer DT picks, 246. The ending of this map has caught out quite a few people, so see if any of these players can hold big combos into the ending.
But when it comes to average score, this is probably one of the highest average scores we see in the map pool.
Yeah, without a doubt, players do tend to have an easier time with this one. The aim is not too difficult, especially earlier on in the map, compared to some of the other maps in the pool. And it's not surprising that we're not seeing any misses early on. We are into the first spike, though, and this is where we might start to see a miss here and there.
So far, comfortability not really so apparent anymore. Sora finds the first slider break. So New York going to be able to take a slight lead here, but Rhythm Game is actually going to trade it out. So now combos even, actually a very slight combo lead in favor of Alabama, but the accuracy going to keep it in favor of New York for now.
If Sora can recover and hold on to that small combo advantage over Rhythm Game, Alabama should be able to bring this one back, but of course that means both Juicy and Glyph are going to have to hold on to their combos. Into the next Ki here. This one has claimed quite a few combos as well.
No breaks so far though, other than the initial two from Sora and Rhythm Game. And there goes Sora once again on the last jump of the Ki. Now, New York going to be able to extend their lead quite a bit, but I'm going to see if any of them get caught out by this slider section. But nobody does. Oh, but Glyph Finding a break on the slowdown. That is so tragic for Alabama. Now down 2 major combos. It is Juicy all alone once again against 2 full combos and the reestablished combo of Rhythm Game.
Yeah, Cliff was just shaking like crazy on that pattern and fortunately found the miss. So now Juicy trying to fend off all 3 players from New York here. And New York is off to a very quick 300,000 point lead. And yes, the ending is tricky. So there might be a chance if Juicy can FC and we see a complete meltdown from New York, but things are not looking good.
Yeah, I think this map is way too comfortable to expect a team like New York to melt down on this one. Oh, but Taquito does find the slider break. See if Arco and Rhythm Game can match that as well. At that point, we might be discussing a comeback, but honestly, a 500k lead for New York already. There is not nearly enough time. Lift breaks again, and Rhythm Game and Arco do break. Juicy once again, not seeing he broke at the end. 2 maps in a row.
Juicy is so cursed.
And it looks like our client is getting messed up a little bit. Looks like an insta hit and 1 pick from New York. Acid Burst.
It's going to be the more focused HD pick. And of course, New York has historically been a very, very strong HD team. And I think that will still be the case this year's USC. Maybe seeing OPIC stay back in for this one.
Going to be seeing the New York hidden roster. Probably expect Twilight to come in and take that 3rd spot. It's like Juicy going to be probably perma-lobbying for Alabama here. Makes sense. He's gotten the top scores on his team for the last 2 maps for them.
I think so. I think both these rosters are probably going to be pretty similar to the No-Mod 3 rosters that we saw. Just need Cross Cage to switch slots here.
Looks like Twilight waiting for that slot 2 to open up for him. And there he goes. So we've got the roster in. Juicy, Frost Cage, and Glyph up against Pixate, Taquito, and Twilight on this one. New York looking to extend their lead to 3-0 right off the bat here.
Yep, and I think they're in a very solid position to do so. This map, of course, very short, so every miss counts, including that miss from Glyph early on. And this is a trend we've seen throughout this match. Alabama is consistently just falling a little bit behind in accuracies. That is going to cost them as well.
Yeah, and that next break from Glyph is going to mean a lot more. His accuracy is suffering a lot as well, all the way down at 90% now. He finds another drop. Meanwhile, players on New York are looking to have no issue with this map so far. Only OPIC below 99, and he promptly brings it back above 99, so Freeway still alive, but the 2 big combos are there for Alabama. If New York does suffer a breakdown, which I've seen happen on the end, and could that go back in their favor, but for now, New York just looks so comfortable.
Yeah, all you need is 2 big combos. I mean, it doesn't make it easy when you've got no score on the 3rd player, but we're already halfway through the map, and Glyph is just not having a good time on this one. Not able to read these bursts with the hidden. Just consistently misaiming those patterns, and there goes Taquito. That's a big drop. But they're going to need more than that. There goes Juicy as well.
Juicy finally finding a break, not in the last 20 seconds of the map. Unfortunately, going to be at a very unopportune spot for him. Twilight and Pixay still holding on to the combos for New York. Should be able to run this one into the ending now as our tourney client freezes and we don't know what's going on.
We don't. Players are most likely hitting the circles, you would expect.
Many people are saying this.
And the scores on the bottom are rising at different speeds. Oh, we're back for a second.
Whoa.
Oh.
Osu, Bancho? Okay, it looks like we might be back at
Juicy
different
and,
spots.
Yep, Juicy and Taquito have, they got a little tilted after those misses and decided to stop playing the map. Could have the other 4 players for now. But unfortunately... Okay, there goes Frost Cage. There goes a Pixie, and with 1 SC left on the side of New York, none on Alabama. It's just going to be a 3rd point straight for New York, and they're going to be up 3-0 here.
Yeah, quick 3-0 start for New York. Pretty much following the script, I feel.
I think so. A lot of pick'ems are going to be very happy about this one. And I imagine that's an FC from Twilight, but who knows at this point? And Rhythm Game says you should pick FM1. That is definitely a banger of a map, but I'm not sure that it's quite a good pick for Alabama. New York might have to use their own pick on that when they get the chance.
Yeah, and personally, I think that's a pretty bad pick for Alabama. I think they had a good idea with DT1. I think they should take that idea and go into No Mod 1, but it's going to be Free Mod 2 against on a satellite. Another banger.
Definitely a banger, but this one I don't think is a great pick for Alabama either. This is the anti-mod, and this is one that I imagine New York is going to look pretty good on. Of course, you just throw Chiquito on the HD. You can probably bring in someone like Altrox or Arco to take the Hard Rock, and New York is going to be in a really good spot.
Yeah, I think we're probably going to see Rhythm Game take the Hard Rock on New York. That guy is a Hard Rock specialist. But for Alabama, not really sure what to expect from them here. We're going to see YTK join the lobby for the first time on their side.
Yeah, possibly in for the Hard Rock.
And in comes Rhythm Game to take that slot 1, with Glyph taking the 3rd spot for Alabama. Who do you think goes Nomad on New York? I'm going to put my money on Twilight for this one because it's AR9.
Yep, gonna have to agree. I think Twilight on the Nomad, Keto HD, Rhythm Game Hard Rock, and I think we're going to see Glyph undoubtedly on the Nomad for Alabama. Did not have a good time on the Get In last map.
Yeah, probably expect Juicy to go either Hidden or Nomad. He's been the rock for Alabama. So consistent so far this match. Going to need him to put up a very good score, I think, if they want to have a chance to get on the board against New York.
It has to be Juicy on the Hidden if I had to guess, but we will find out shortly. Maybe we'll get a Glyph easy Hidden,
Yeah, the DraftKings Sportsbook odds on that are not going to be very high.
Certainly not. It's going to be Glyph on the Hard Rock, actually, and Juicy on the Nomad. Okay. I was way off with Alabama.
Right on the money for New York, though.
Yep.
So
Take one for 2.
If you had that roster as a part of your parlay, you can breathe now.
There you go. Next thing you know, it's USC. It's going to be full of gambling ads as well, just like every other sport these days.
Yeah, we have remained pure from it, but Osu has not really had any large consistent source of money yet. So I think if they were to reach out to us, they might genuinely think
I don't
about
know if
taking
you'd
it.
say no.
I mean, maybe you wouldn't just because of the amount of kids in this game and how the majority of the player base is underage, but
Yeah, I'd
otherwise,
have to agree.
I think you could say that about a bunch of video games. But back on the topic of the match, it's going to be YTK to find the first couple of breaks. Does not bode well for Alabama.
No, certainly doesn't. Most of these maps have not boded well for Alabama so far. But Taquito does trade the miss back, and it's going to be 2 FCs to 2, and that does bode quite well for Alabama if they can hold on to their combos.
Yeah, but once again, New York very superior in the accuracy department. YTK down at 95, Glyph down at 92. They're going to need to win solely off the combos, but those two breaks from Glyph and YTK are going to be very detrimental for their chance of winning this point.
Yeah, and they both missed the entire stream as well, so it really killed the accuracy of both players there, both down below the 94%. Now YTK follows it up with yet another miss, whereas Taquito has recovered, and yet again for Alabama, it is juicy against the world.
We might have to invoke the LeBron image on this performance from Juicy. He has been playing very well so far for Alabama, but fortunately, or unfortunately, no help.
No, and New York is just too consistent to find enough misses for Juicy to solo carry this one.
Oh, but he breaks there. Traded with Rhythm Game, so ultimately this isn't really going to have too big of an effect on the score because Twilight and Taquito still holding on to their big combos. Now the only difference is Alabama no longer has any big combos to test that.
No, and at this point, it's 300,000 to point lead, and another miss from YTK is going to seal it. Only a quarter of the map to go, and I don't think there is time for Alabama with their combos. And looks like we're going to have New York on match point. Twilight actually has been playing incredibly well. I believe the SC on the last map, and now looking to do the save on this one, but we'll see if Twilight can close it out here.
Yep, the 4WC winner, proving why he has that title.
Here we go into the ending. Twilight would absolutely never miss here.
He would never.
I don't think Twilight has ever missed in a match before.
Genuinely, this player is so consistent, showing it in multiple different community tournaments recently. One of the up-and-comers in the USA. Could see this guy potentially contending USA OWC rosters maybe in years to come.
Yeah, definitely an exciting up-and-comer, and very nice FC on the no mod. Solid accuracy as well.
And another insta-pick for New York, going to be going with that DT3, Thieves Night Trick. One of the gimmickier maps in the pool. This one located in the DT pool.
Yep. And they're not going to be giving us the free mod one that they wanted Alabama to pick. But GT3 is good fun as well.
Fortunately, Will Stetson will have to serenade us another time.
Yep. Very possibly in the next match. Don't miss it.
In case New York does end it here, the next match is going to be at 23 UTC, which is an hour and 28 minutes from now, so be sure to stick around for that. I believe it is, let me check the sheet.
Tennessee, Minnesota.
Yeah,
that's going to be a good one.
Yeah, I think so. Both those teams have their players, but neither of them seem to be a powerhouse, so it has the opportunity to maybe go the distance.
I think so. 15 versus 18 seed, and like you said, both teams have quite a few solid players. But back to our current match, I think Alabama is going to need a monstrous performance here to make a comeback.
A actual miracle performance is what I think I would say. I think the DraftKings Sportsbook odds on this is if Alabama performs this comeback and you gamble on them right now, you might be just making a mortgage worth. But personally, I would not put my money on it. New York has looked very strong this match, and looks like they'll probably continue this one into the ending with this pick, this one.
And Broadskates just really wants to be on this New York team.
Man, I would too. This New York team is really good.
Yeah, I don't blame them. Now it's Aura infiltrating the New York roster. I mean, someone get me into the lobby. I'll infiltrate the New York roster.
Liff proclaiming that he cannot play this, so that does not bode well for Alabama, I think, with this power roster from New York on the double time.
Yeah, not exactly confidence inspiring going into potentially the last map of this match.
We've got Rhythm Game, Arco, and Taquito up against Juicy, Glyph, and Sora. Alabama with their backs against the wall. Gonna see if they can surprise us on this DT3.
It's Arco actually does find the first miss, but so early on, I'm not sure it's going to matter much as long as Arco can recover. But Alabama should actually be off to the very early lead. If they can hold on to their accuracies, the score should flip over in theory.
Yeah, but the accuracy on Glyph is just so low that it's gonna be lower than Arco's score. Yeah, no one breaking on the 1/3, but there goes Glyph, so one of the combos from Alabama gone, and there goes Sora as well. Once again, Juicy all alone against the three-headed monster that New York is putting up on this map.
That has been the story of this match, and yet again, things are looking dire for Alabama early on. I'm not sure if they've had the score lead at any point in this match, actually.
I don't think so either. New York has just been so dominant on every single pick in this match. We're once again seeing that. Taquito down at 93, but it doesn't really matter when both the other accuracies are that high. New York is already at 300,000 in the lead.
Yeah, and unfortunately, as you see, the one-pull combo for Alabama is struggling on the accuracy as well, so only able to match Taquito's score, and Glyph and Sora continue to miss, and this is going to be it.
It's going to be New York sweeping their round of 32 opponent at a score of 5-0. It'll be a very strong performance from them.
Yeah, New York are a force to be reckoned with in this tournament, showing why they are maybe a little bit underseeded in this one. They're just so consistent on every single pick here.
They're going to be reaching round of 16 from the winner's side, where they are going to be having a match against Maryland, which is sure to be an absolutely insane match for round of 16.
Oh yeah, that's going to be a good one. Monko 2K now on Maryland, of course.
Yep, for now, that's going to do it. New York almost doubling the score of Alabama on that DT3. It's going to be a GG well played. Alabama, unfortunately, going to be moving down to loser's bracket in the first weekend once again.
And Alabama is going to be playing the stateless team. So that will be an interesting match for sure. Could certainly go either way, but yep, very well played to New York. Really, really impressive score. We'll be back for the next match. It's going to be at 23 UTC, so in 1 hour and 23 minutes. Thank you guys all for watching, and we will see you then.
Be sure to stick around.